I'm more proud of this production almost than anything I've ever done because I think it's important. I think it's timely. I think people have in their mind that, oh, our town is old. No, our town is synonymous for our world, our time.
I love the idea of our town for our time, right? My relationship with our town goes back to high school.
I read it when I was 14, and it has sat on my night table since then.
I said to somebody the other day, I was like, this reminds me of what people must mean when they say they like go to Bible study. Like they do that all the time, their whole life. You're like, how can you study one book? But the play speaks to me in the sense, like, oh, I could see that living with this material in that way, it reveals something new depending on where you are.
When you're in the theater, you're part of a community. And this is a play about community. Doesn't matter if you're in Boise, Greenwich Village, Grover's Corners, Dublin, Ireland, you're part of a community.
It is our town for our time. I think there's a reason. What is it? Every day there's a performance of our town happening in the world. That's not because it's a play about nostalgia.
I think it's a very energized production. It's full of life. It's full of movement. It's not proper and staid and careful.
Well, I think that if Thornton Wilder were alive today, I think that he would be game to come in and say, hey, let's hear this play from different voices and different backgrounds. And it sounds like a new play.
I look around today and I'm like, well, this is what our town looks like. This is what my town looks like. This is, it's just an interesting thing to put something on its feet that's been done forever and put it on its feet and say, yeah, but families are families. It doesn't matter what they look like.
I trust Kenny so much that I was really curious. And he said, this play is very delicate. And at the same time, though, it's very sturdy. It can hold a diversity of humanity.
I ran a theater company, a big theater company, and I realized that American theater was usually trying to do Anglo-European work at the center and then diversifying with everybody else on the edges. And then when I started another company, True Colors, I said, hey, I'm going to take one of their great plays and I'm going to put African Americans at the center and I'm going to diversify with white friends on the peripheral. And I did that and I discovered something about the play.
George is just this big-hearted young man, this beautiful, beautifully simple young man that, like, out of everything in his life that he has, he loves love the most.
Everybody ends up where they end up. And I think Simon's one of the ones who just, I don't know, man. I think he's got big ideas in a small world.
Doc Gibbs is, I want to say that in this community, he is just such a caregiver in this community. He is this man who has everybody's medical issues and problems on his own mind, and he's trying to balance his own home life with what he does at work. And this is a tough task to do.
To put a barrier of any sort of character up between the person playing the stage manager and the audience seems so wrong to me. It doesn't feel like I have a character to guard myself behind at all. And when yeah, it does at times. It makes it very enjoyable when I'm in it and when I feel like connected. But the moments if I start getting, because we're still rehearsing, if I start getting a little unsure, like what's the line or whatever, then it feels really ugly because it feels there's something between us.
Jim, as the stage manager, has these lines about how two people fall in love and that moment when they realize that they're in love and they're going to get married. And hearing Ephraim and Zoe say those lines, it's like we are still saying this same thing to each other. It reminds them, being us, how lucky we are, how beautiful life is, how marvelous connection is.
I'm glad I get to bring myself to it and what love and family and beauty and joy and pain looks like to me, because it's something that we all experience. And now the audience hopefully gets to, another kind of audience gets to see themselves in me, see themselves in us, and sometimes maybe they didn't get to see themselves in some of those other productions.